Okay, let's create some more compiler errors. Okay, so when we compile the code, we got a couple more errors, but as usual, we're just going to take it one at a time. So the first error seems to be on line 99 in the location class, so location header file. The error is that we're passing it's in member function describe location function associated with the location class, and it's a const function, and the error is that we're passing a const location as this argument discards the qualifiers. So we're passing a const location as this argument which discards the qualifiers. So when we return toString plus items in location, we're returning a string. Okay, so let's go to describe location and see what's going on. We're passing the const location as this argument discards the qualifiers. So if it's discarding the qualifiers, well, the qualifiers that we see right away are const, so that's obviously what we're discarding. So let's go take a look. Line 99 in the location class. Location, line 99. Okay, so in the describe location function, we're returning the toString method plus items in location plus, here's our error with the squiggly lines. Well, we can see what's happening. Get game objects, if we go up here and then .describe game objects, get game objects, this object has type qualifiers that are not compatible with the member function get game objects. So the object type is a const game object container, so it's const, and we have get game objects returns a reference to a game object list. But so let's just go to get game objects function and describe game objects, because I believe that was what the error said. Describe location, okay, and get game objects. So let's go to get game objects. Let's copy this. And I can't remember if it's in this class or not. So it's not in the location class, but if we're calling it, it means we have access to it. So we're going to go to our parent class, game object container, and right there's get game object. So get game object is a function, takes no arguments, but it returns a reference to game object list. Okay, and then go back to location. 99 was our problem, so down here, get game object dot. Okay, so here's the issue. Yeah, so describe location has the qualifier const. We're saying it's a const function, and what that means is we're saying that it's not going to change anything, like it's not going to affect anything. So it's a const function. Const functions can only call other const functions, because if they called a non-const function, well, those other functions theoretically could mutate things. They could modify things, which would, negate this. So this is telling the compiler, by having this const keyword here before the declaration of the function, or alternatively, if this was a function prototype before the semicolon, that const would basically be telling the computer, or the compiler rather, that this function is not going to change anything. Okay, it's not going to change anything, so I can only call const functions. I'm not getting an error with this describe game objects, so presumably that's either const or it's just because the error stops here. So let's take a look. Where was that? If we make this const, if we make this a const function, which is fine because it's not actually changing game objects here, so let's make this a const function. File, save. Qualifiers dropped in binding reference of type game object list to initializer of type const list. So let's see what this problem is. The issue in the game objects method, specifically in the line where you're trying to return a reference to game objects, the problem is that you're trying to return a non-const reference to a member variable, a non-const reference to a member variable from a const method. In C++, when a method is declared as const, it means that the method does not modify the object state. However, by returning a non-const reference, to a member variable, you're allowing the caller to modify the state, which breaks the const promise. To fix this issue, you should change the return type of this method to const, like this. Okay, so sorry, I made the method const, but I didn't return type const. So that's what I need to do. So they have both const. By doing this, you're ensuring that the returned reference is a constant, which means that the caller cannot modify the object state through this reference. This is consistent with const promised. So I'm not even sure if I would need this const. Let's see. Where was the error? Oh, it was in the location class, so 99. So I've still got the error here because the object has type qualifiers that are not compatible with the member function. So go back to the container class, make this const, save, and again, I'm just sometimes the reason I don't include it is I want to show that what you actually need. And if I go to the location class, now we can see that let me get rid of this. Now we can see that there's no error here. So if we go back to compile, we should lose error 99. We'll still have all the other stuff. We'll deal with that in a minute. But we should at least lose error 99. So let's take a look. Clear the screen, recompile. And it's error 99 that we should have got rid of. And we can see that we did. So we still have some other stuff. In fact, we seem to be getting some errors that we had previously fixed back. So we had a dynamic cast error before in a previous video where I dealt with this, and now I'm getting it back. Why? Because I'm passing a const object game list as this argument, which discards this qualifier. Because take item is expecting a stood string just by constant reference, and I'm passing a const game list object as this argument. So let's take a look at that 261 in here. That's often what happens. You fix one problem and you can cause another one. So 261 right here. The object has type qualifiers that are not compatible with the member function, this game object. So let's look at the problem, explain it to us. Explain problem. The issue you're encountering is due to the fact that this game object function is not marked as const. So that this game object function is not marked as const, but you're trying to call it on a const object. Because again, getGameObjects we just determined returns a const now. So we've now created a const object and we're calling something that doesn't return a const. So, however, this game object is not marked as const, which means you can potentially modify the object it's called on. This is not compatible with the const reference, so the same issue we were causing before. The compiler doesn't like it because you told the compiler this is const, but now you're calling a non-const thing on it, and the compiler doesn't like that. So how would we fix this? To fix this issue, you should mark that this game object function as const. By adding the const keyword at the end of the function declaration, you're indicating that the function does not modify the object it's called on, which makes it compatible with const. So see, I have the const keyword there as well as here. So if I go to get this game object, which is associated with the game object list class, so let's go to the game object list class, because again, hover over it, game object list class, which is right here. This game object, if I mark this const, which says that the string I'm passing in is a constant reference that I'm not changing. Let's see name. I don't change, do I? Well, I technically do iterate through parameter name and change it to lowercase. But theoretically that's save that. Go back to here. Now it's not a dynamic cast. Dynamic cast cannot cast away const or other type qualifiers because they're constant. So I'm kind of introducing more errors as I go. So I'm gonna take that away. This is the problem with trying to fix one thing for another. I might have to just do something else to solve this issue. Because, let's see. The object has type qualifiers that are not compatible with the member function. I might end up trying to go back through the code actually and get rid of a lot of the constants. Find out where I actually need them. Because the constants are seeming to cause a lot of issues. And I tried to use constant a lot when I didn't think I was changing anything. Like in this case, if I'm passing in the string for item name, and I use item name where here, I'm just checking if item name's empty, and then I'm saying item name equals this, and if it equals this, so I'm just doing a comparison, and here I'm adding to item name, but I'm not changing item name because I'm just reassigning it string. So if I wasn't actually changing something, I tried to make it a const reference for efficiency and other things, but it's causing issues with some things. So I'll have to figure this one out after. I'm going to leave that for now because I might have to go through and do a lot of different changes with constant stuff. But so we'll probably just get back some of those errors. I'm not sure what we fixed now. But we did fix a couple things with the one const, but now we're still getting this. So I'll figure that out after. What I kind of probably want to go do next is get rid of all this. Well, here's a delay function down here. I think we introduced more errors than we got rid of when we did that const thing, so I'm going to take that away. Where was it, in the container class? Yeah, I'm going to get rid of this const. We introduced way more errors. Yeah, I'll figure this out after what I'm going to do with the const, but I introduced way more errors. Let's just quickly, before the video ends, fix one error. So in here, in the Alice in Wonderland text-based adventure game header file, we have warning, unused variable delay. Okay, that's an easy thing. I've obviously created a variable that I don't use, so let's go take a look. 451. So 451. So right here, I create a delay function, or a delay variable, and I never use it. So this is my function fan, which is when Alice has a fan, she fans herself in a part of the story. When she grows too tall, she fans herself to shrink, but she eventually needs to drop the fan or she'll shrink and die. So in here, delay is supposed to be a delay I have to stop myself from, to like pause between my shrinking. And I don't see it here. In fact, I don't even see me shrinking. I just see me... Okay, well I am shrinking. Just give me a second to look here. No, I'm missing... Oh! I gotta comment... I'm gonna comment this... On-comment this. I had two shrink functions going on. I was adjusting things, so... On-comment this. This should be on-commented. And I'll comment out this. I've just adjusted the shrink or the fan function, so So we'll comment this out. And now this fan function, same fan function, so it uses the delay. So we have the delay variable here, which is the variable to control the shrinking, and I use it here. So depending on her height, I have different delays. I adjust the delay based on height. The delay gets bigger, like more time when she gets smaller for her to figure out what to do. So by just making that small adjustment, I'm going to get rid of error 451. And you can see I got rid of that. So at least we did something during this video, and I'll figure out the con stuff later. I think in the next video I'm just going to go straight to fixing all these get functions, because there's a lot of them, and that'll clear up quite a few errors. And yeah, still a lot of errors to figure out, but we'll get there.